there, welcome back to the vlog and welcome back to Vlogmas. So for today's Vlogmas video, I thought I would do a question and answer. These are kind of fun because I never really know what people want to know or what they don't know or what they do know and all that kind of thing. So it's kind of neat to see like what types of questions people submit, but then also it's just kind of a neat way to check in and kind of see what people are interested in and what's going on with you all, and it's just a great way to start a conversation. So I thought that would be a good use of a Vlogmas video, so welcome. And I asked people in both the Being Mommy with Style group and also on Instagram for any questions that you had, and there was a ton of good ones. So I'm going to jump in and try to get to as many as possible. And I really liked the range too. I'll just start off by saying that I really liked the range of questions. I thought it was really, really good. So Cindy asked, how do you stay so positive during this hectic time? And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in my goals video too, as far as some of my goals for 2024. I think I tend to be a naturally optimistic person. I think that's a fair, statement. But just because you're an optimistic person doesn't mean that you don't have negative thoughts. It doesn't mean that you don't get overwhelmed. It doesn't mean that you don't have like kind of some of those negative things that just happen in life. But one of the things that I was working on in 2023 and that we're definitely going to be diving into, both Dan and myself, into 2024 is the power of abundance, and kind of as an extension of that, the power of positive thinking. So instead of thinking like, oh, today is so stressful, like I hate it, I wish it was over, you kind of focus on the positives and like, I was so glad that I got to see that friend today and that I'm going to be home for dinner tonight, and you really focus on the positives. So I would highly recommend this. I'm going to be recommending a number of books in my goals video that I just really felt made a huge impact this year, but one of the books I wanted to recommend just right off the top is this book, Affirmations. It's the power of positive self-talk. And it's really, really helped me, even being a naturally tending to be optimistic person. I think a lot of that comes from, like I've had specific struggles in my life and I've had specific feelings, and I want to go out of my way to make sure that people, even if I can't take everything away for other people, like I want to try to perk their day up. And so I think that's why I kind of have always naturally like tended to lean into that, like trying to make people smile, trying to compliment, expecting nothing in return and that sort of thing, because you never know like what small thing can make a difference for someone. And so I think that's really, really powerful. But even just talking to yourself in a powerful and abundant manner can manifest beautiful things in your life. So if you're interested in this and looking more into positive self-talk yourself, this book by Noah St. John, Affirmations, is a great one. It talks about it in a way that's very relatable. It's got some neat ideas and that sort of things in it. So how do I stay positive this hectic time? I do get overwhelmed. I do feel like I drop balls and all those sorts of things, but I just try to not let it eat away at me. That's what you can't do. You don't want it to just eat away at you. You accept what you can do, you let go of what you can't do, and you focus on the positive. That's really, really how I try to look at things. And so hopefully that's helpful. But I thought that was a great question, and that's why I wanted to start out with it. Then right after that one, which is kind of related, I feel like I have wrapping paper all over my face because I just wrapped presents. So sorry if I do. Cheryl asked, do you still practice yoga? So I do have like a little mini meditation seat and yoga setup that I can set up in this house. For me, the best way to practice yoga is to go into a yoga classroom and do guided meditation and do guided, exercises and all of that. Really, really love yoga. And so no, since we have moved to Minneapolis, I have not done yoga in the form that I most prefer to do, which is guided in a class, being around other people's energy. I just feel like it's very, very positive and I get a lot out of it. So that's one of my goals for 2024 is to get back to some sort of regular yoga class, especially yoga, because it's so good for flexibility, for mindset. You're going to hear a lot about mindset because it's one of our big focuses right now. And so, no, I don't still do it regularly, but yes, I would like to get back to that because that was a really great time in my life as far as just being super focused and super, driving towards abundance when I was doing yoga, when I was doing Zumba, all those things regularly. So would like to get back to that. Madison asks, favorite type of video to film? I don't know. I mean, it changes from day to day, to be honest, but probably Disney vlogs. Disney vlogs have been one of the most rewarding types of vlogs, not just because of the trips and all of that, but being able to watch the kids grow up and being able to have like those key moments, like the first time we went to Cape May and Natalie like flipped out because Donald's coming, and just all of those really exciting things, that them riding Dumbo and just being amazed by it, all those things that I'm so glad that I have on video. And it makes me wish, like, because our very first Disney trip, Isabella was 9 months old, I wasn't videoing then. And it makes me wish, like, oh, I wish we had those moments on video. But I'm so glad that we do have the moments that we do. I love looking back on those. Those are some of my favorite videos that I will ever reflect on. Because most videos of mine, like after they happen, after I edit them, I don't go back to them, you know. But Disney videos have had the most longevity for both myself and also viewers. I mean, I still have Disney videos from 7, 8, 9 years ago that are getting searched out right now. So I would like to think that they've been the most helpful type of video I've ever made, and also they're probably my favorite to actually film as well too, because let's be honest, it's fun. Second to that would probably just be the Ray Dunn husband prank video. We just pulled that one up the other day, and the one where my husband put like the Ray Dunn words all over our house. That one was also funny to show the kids the other day. But favorite type of video to film, probably Disney vlogs. And they're my most searched out videos at this point too, so it's kind of like, I feel like they're the most beneficial as well. Oh, Madison, you've got a couple in a row. What are some tips for Disney cruises? So Disney cruises are a really great way to have a Disney vacation and it actually be a vacation. So, I mean, other than planning when you want to go, what ship you want to be on, how long you want to sail for, and what destinations you want to go to, you really don't have to put a ton of thought into it, right? Other than just getting there. I highly recommend, not just for Disney, but any cruise, arriving the day before your cruise sets sail, especially if you're flying in, because just with flights being the way that they are, and if you saw our experience this summer, which luckily we had a number of days loaded in before our Galactic Star Cruiser experience, if flights get canceled, you have no way to get there. That cruise is leaving regardless. You will just miss the cruise. So I highly recommend planning some extra days ahead of your cruise, arrive the day before, and then that way you can just leisurely get up in the morning, get over to port, get checked in, and you know, have a great cruise. So this is going to be an interesting year because last year, the first time I went out of Galveston, I'd never been out of that port prior to our Mexico cruise. This upcoming year, I'm going out of the Fort Lauderdale port, the new one, for the very first time. So I'm excited about that. And so it is a little bit nerve-wracking if you've never done it before. I remember being nervous before that very first cruise, but just know that like Disney cruises especially, the minute you set foot on that cruise, like they take care of everything. Like you really don't have to think about a lot. Your itinerary is on the phone, so make sure you have the Disney Cruise Line app downloaded before you leave. There's ship Wi-Fi that works for just specifically the app. You don't have to buy any extra Wi-Fi unless you want to be going on Facebook and posting your pictures or checking your email or going on Zoom or doing all those things. So you can just use the regular ship Wi-Fi to get on the Disney Cruise Line app and it works. And so I'd say, you know, just plan the cruise, put a little bit of planning at the beginning, and once you get there, everything's taken care of. It's so, so great. And then I guess the last tip for cruises is I have a number of items that are super handy to keep your stateroom organized. I will link those down below. But items like the magnetic hooks that will go on your bathroom doors or the back of your stateroom door, they're great to keep things organized, like your lanyards, toiletry bags, all those sorts of things. Really, really great. I did like condensed chargers to save space. Those were really great. I did like a little closet organizer to keep our clothing organized. So there's a lot of great little tricks that you can keep your stateroom very organized because they are fairly small rooms. But to be honest, you're not really in your room all that much for a Disney cruise anyways. You just really need to sleep there. So those are some good things to keep your room organized. So hopefully that was helpful. But they are a great vacation that is Disney inspired, you know, everywhere, but it's an actual vacation. You can actually just go relax, which is awesome. Colleen asked, I'd love to know more about the URLs that you have, as I'd love to venture in this direction. So I mentioned, I think in one of the past Vlogmas videos, that I hold a lot of URLs. And so what that means is, like, if you go to a web address like beingmommywithstyle.com, someone had to reserve that name and then hold it. And so I hold a lot of names for a lot of different reasons. There's a lot of different reasons why people would hold URLs. One is because you plan on putting a business on it at some point. Two is because you don't want anyone else to put a business on it at some point. Three is there are some people that hold URLs to turn them and flip them later. So if it's a high value keyword, there's people that actually flip those virtual pieces of real estate. For me right now, what I'm doing is I'm building up niche blogs, and I am creating those blogs for, you know, driving traffic to them with the intent that some of them I may eventually sell someday. So not Being Mommy with Style and not Moms with Mouse Ears, I really intend on holding those. But some of the other ones, and that's why I've tried to start the clear divide between the ones that I may eventually sell off and they're more faceless, versus the ones that I really intend to hold because they're kind of my either personal brands or the ones I started out with. But it's definitely like a big business. Like, there's a lot of people that do this. It's like virtual real estate essentially. And so it's an enjoyable activity for me and one that I like to do. I don't know if that answers your question as far as the URLs, but if you're thinking about doing a blog, if that was the question, I highly recommend it. I think that every single person should have their own space on the internet that they own. Not YouTube, not Facebook, not Instagram, not TikTok, not Vine. Haha, doesn't exist anymore. I mean, that is like the best example of why you need a website, why everyone needs a blog. If you're a content creator, even if you're not a content creator, I mean, there's LinkedIn, but I would make sure to have your name reserved as URL. Because there's a lot of use cases for that. I mean, if you're in a creative environment or communications environment where you're going to be, you know, trading information, it's sometimes really nice to have your information just set up on a really basic website, scan it with a QR code, and you can make a lot of connections and networking that way. So anyhow, there's a lot of use cases for having a website, especially if you're a content creator or ever plan on being a content creator. I think I'm going to talk about this in my goals actually, but while we're side segueing here, I think this is one of the biggest things that, like, the advantages that content creators starting now have is they go into it understanding and knowing this is going to be a business. And I think that's kind of one of the most ambiguous things about when we started back in the good old days, like way back when, you know, back when there was just YouTube, there was nothing else, and there was maybe then just Facebook, and there was then Instagram was introduced. You know, it was very kind of a gray area. Like, is this going to be a business? Like, we're making money from it. Are we always going to make money from it? What do people consider this? And it's definitely grown and evolved over the years to now where young people can come in, or anyone can come in as a content creator saying, I'm going to start this as a business. And so I think that's definitely a great advantage that people have now. And I think that is, I mean, I think it's great. So there definitely are things I would do differently had I known that I would still be sitting here talking to you. What, 12 years ago? How long has it been? It's been a long time. Had I known that this was going to have the longevity that it did, I would have done some things differently. But I know what I know now, and all I can do is keep building on my knowledge. But I think that everyone, if you're a content creator, you need to have those things that you own: an email address and a blog, your space on the internet. That is not going to disappear if Vine closes, or if TikTok gets super regulated and all of a sudden you can't log into it one day, or if YouTube goes belly up. I mean, all of those sorts of things that, like, are considerations now, I think we really weren't as aware of, like, kind of back in the day. But that being said, if you're a content creator, highly recommend get a blog, start your email list, because that's where all your money is on the areas that you own. Everything else is just pointing to those. So get a URL. I'm a big fan of URLs. Okay, hold on. Instagram closed. I'm going to open up the Facebook group. I know there was at least one message over there. there was a message. Oh, so there was a question from Elizabeth. She asked, do I have any winter travel road trip tips? They're traveling out of state for New Year's for the first time. And we're actually going to be traveling over the holiday via plane. So I did want to share some of my tips. I don't know if you live in a snowy area, Elizabeth. I'm not going to say where you live if I'm able to see it. But I don't know if you live in a snowy area, but obviously your first couple of considerations are the days that you're traveling. Most gas stations are open, but if you can prep some of those things ahead, like having a full tank of gas, making sure that you have all those cold weather things like ice scrapers and, you know, blankets and all of that that you may need in the car if you live in a cold weather area, because it's always a possibility if you do. Luckily this winter's been very mild. But there was one winter we lived in Northern Illinois. We drove to Southern Illinois, which is a vastly different climate. If you're not familiar, two totally different climates. We drove to Southern Illinois for my mom's birthday in February, and we were driving back. We got about 3/4 the way up Illinois, and we got stuck. We got stranded. We were literally what should have been about an hour and a half away from where we lived at the time, and we ended up having to pull over and get a hotel because it was like a whiteout. So if you don't live anywhere snowy, what that means is that the snow is coming down so hard and the wind is blowing it that literally you cannot see the road even 2 feet in front of you. And it gets dangerous enough to where you legitimately have to pull off the road and you have to stop until the weather gets better. So you need to have some supplies on hand to weather that, just in case you happen to get stranded somewhere that, you know, bad weather and you have to just hunker down for a little bit. So blankets in the car, ice scrapers, all those sorts of things if you're going to be in a northern place. If it's road trip tips for kids, we like to have a lot of entertainment things on hand. When the kids were younger, we loved those imagining books because they could just scribble and draw on them and make creative things and there was no mess anywhere. Greatest things ever. There's also so many great busy books now. Oh my gosh. Like on Amazon, tons of great busy books. Like we were all making them by hand when my kids were little. Now you can just get this whole entertainment kit on Amazon, already done, perfect for traveling. So those are great to keep the kids entertained. And then if you're going to be traveling in a warm area, you know, I'd say if you can, there's a lot of really cool things to see. If you're going through the Southeast, again, I don't know which area of the United States you're in, stop and see something really interesting that you wouldn't normally see along the way. So when we moved from Michigan to Alabama, we stopped and saw the world's largest mailbox. We stopped and saw the world's largest rocking chair. They were in the same town. We just stopped and saw random stuff like that. It's kind of neat. It makes a neat memory for the kids. Some places in like the Southeast that I would highly recommend stopping, even if you're just going through, like so say you're driving to Florida. Rock City is beautiful. I don't know what the weather's like right now, but it's a great place just to see as you're going past. Really, really neat. They have a neat lookout. Ruby Falls is a really neat place, especially in the spring, maybe not so much New Year's. And then Helen, Georgia is neat if you're over in that area. That's someplace I want to go. A lot of cabins and things over there. Yeah, so there's a lot of like little sightseeing things that you can go see that you can kind of make your road trip an adventure too. For plane flight travel, which we are embarking on over the holidays, I recommend to not do it. No, I'm just kidding. Just arrive early, pack your patience, and try to have everything you need in your carry-on plus an extra change of clothes, just on the off chance that your luggage gets lost. I'm really hoping I didn't just jinx myself, but you know, make sure you have everything. Like I always make sure my contacts and my glasses and all those sorts of things that I don't function very well without are in my carry-on. You want to make sure that those are handy and just, you know, that you can even survive in an airport overnight, because that happened on our trip when we were going down in June. First day it got canceled, second day it got delayed because of weather. We were literally in the airport for like, I don't know, something like 8 to 12 hours. So make sure you have entertainment. Make sure you have, you know, everything you're gonna need, like medicine and contacts and glasses and all those sorts of things, because you just never know what's gonna happen when you're traveling. But we enjoy road tripping. I don't enjoy it in the winter just because I hate like getting stranded places and I don't like driving in bad weather. But, you know, we enjoy road tripping and like seeing the sights along the way. So if you're able to build that into your trip, highly recommend it. And just kind of make an adventure out of it. So I don't know if that answers your question. I don't know what kind of tips you were looking for, but hopefully that's helpful. So I'm going to be back with just another couple of Vlogmas videos, and then Vlogmas is over and it will be on to 2024. So I'm going to be sharing some of my 2024 goals, what we have planned as a family, what Dan and I are talking about doing, and also how that will affect like some of my content going forwards, because I am planning on making some changes. Hopefully it will be good for you. Going forwards into 2024, kind of bringing you along behind the scenes, topic oriented videos and all those sorts of things. So I'll be talking more about that in my goals video. Let me know if you have any more questions down below. I'm happy to answer those. I think it's just interesting to see like what people have questions about. Like I don't know, like until I do a question and answer, like I never would even think about like, oh, someone might have a question about that. So it's just kind of interesting, and it's always something I can put on the blog later too as well. So hope you guys are having a great holiday season. Thanks for watching today, and have a great day.